Hello and greetings, beautiful people. Welcome to 321 No Kidding. I am Bobby the Awesome, here to do a daily reading with you. Talk a little bit about gambling recovery in general, life in general, whatever the heck shows up this morning. Want to give a shout out to my walk-in buddy and very good friend, Miss Karen. Today is her birthday. August is definitely the month of birthdays for my people in my tribe. I actually blew it, and Tara's was she was on July 30th, and I didn't give her a shout out, so I should really get fired for that. I was a bad friend that day. So you're going to hear a lot of birthdays, and that's okay. Quick call outs, and chances are half the people I call out, they don't listen anyway, so it's all good. All right, our quote today starts from Samuel Johnson. This is the happiest conversation where there is no competition, no vanity, but a calm, quiet interchange of sentiments. I screwed that up from the beginning. That is the happiest conversation where there is no competition, no vanity, but a calm, quiet interchange of sentiments. Not funny. We were just talking about in Recovery Dharma, I think it was last night, appreciation, joy, or joy appreciation, where we're not competing. All these themes keep showing up these last couple days. So we're going to just keep embracing them. All right. When we say we're not communicating well, often what we're really saying is, I'm communicating just fine. It's the other person who isn't communicating well. OMG. Totally relate to that. We tend to expect other people, especially those closest to us, to know instinctively what we want to hear. But not everyone communicates the same way. And it's easier to change ourselves than the other person. When we talk to a loved one about our recovery, our new sober friends, and our new experiences, we may be disappointed because they don't react the way we expected. We're hurt and believe since we initiated the conversation, the other person has a communication problem. But we can't change another. We can't force someone to say the words we long to hear. We can only change ourselves. We can start by letting go of the expectations. Trust in our higher power can help us feel safe even when things don't go as we've planned. We can forgive others for not being as we hoped, and we could choose to share our joy and recovery with those who understand and will nurture us. Sharing our feelings for the simple pleasure of self-expression can bring us great joy. In doing this, we communicate our true selves. Today, let me share honestly and without expectations. All right, I have a lot of stuff coming up for me on this reading. The funny thing that happened last night into this morning is one of my friends who I do challenge to communicate well with has a habit of sending songs and music, and I've always been horrible at interpreting them because what I find is the fact that you are interpreting them and how one person hears a song is different than how another person hears a song. And depending on what lens you have or what your personal experience is, you're going to hear, like I always heard the bad and he always thought he was like explaining himself or whatever his message was. I didn't always get it. And I would spend a lot of time trying to freaking look up what other people thought these lyrics were, listen to this. It was just a big waste of time. So last night I finally said again, I said this a lot when it was fluid, but I said again, can you please not try to communicate with me through songs? Like that doesn't work for me. Can you please tell me what you're trying to tell me? And that's why I'm chuckling because, he probably feels he's communicating very well because he understands and relates to the music, where me, on the other hand, feel like it's horrible and I'm chasing my tail. And honestly, I don't have time to chase my tail. So, okay, so that was the first point. And then this concept, when we talk to a loved one about our recovery, our new sober friends and our new experiences, they may not act like we expected. So what I thought this was referring to initially was actually when you talk to, maybe, I guess the loved one would be your old crew, your old friends, or your family that might not, like if you're in recovery zone and you're feeling really good about the new lifestyle and not being controlled by the bat, like there's a different energy that comes across that way. And sometimes the people in our old lives, because they're not changing the way we're changing, like when we stop gambling and start living life, it's like coming out of prison into the openness, or like out of years of darkness into the light. Like people are not going to connect with that. Most people are going to not connect with that because they're not experiencing it, and they don't really maybe grasp where we're at. It's a bonus if they listen to us and they're supportive and try to understand. There's a lot of my people have asked, questions, like if they don't understand something, which is cool. I think I'll tell just about anybody anything if you haven't noticed. So it's good in that way because at least there's dialogue and they're trying to have some understanding. Then the next piece that kind of jumped out was this whole expectation thing. So we, like the reading says, we can't change other people. We can't force people to say what we think they should or what we want them to. And we do have to trust, in the universe, higher power, that we can feel safe and feel okay when things don't go as planned. I'm not sure. I don't know how I feel about this sentence. We can forgive others for not being as we hoped. Like, is that something to really forgive them for? Like, I'm trying to wrap my head around that one, because if they just are being themselves, they shouldn't have to apologize for that, which means we shouldn't have to forgive them. Maybe we forgive ourselves for having those expectations, because expectations will get us in a shit ton of in trouble, guys. And still a work in progress, I would imagine, for most people, even with long term recovery. It's like just a natural thing to expect certain things, whether we even know we're doing it consciously or not. It's funny though, because maybe we don't know that we had expectations until we don't get what we want. So like if we're in this conversation and we don't even know what we want on a conscious level, but yet they don't give it to us. And then it's like, well, what the hell? Why didn't you say XYZ? Why didn't you, throw a parade for me? Why didn't, whatever that looks like, we may not even know what it is. We can forgive. Oh, I said that part already. Sorry. We can choose to share our joy and recovery with those who understand and will nurture us. So that's where I believe being in groups, even if you're not, a real group person. So whether it's GA or even the Facebook recovery communities, maybe I'm not familiar if there's other ones out there. I think maybe Reddit has conversations, but I don't know enough about that to speak educated, but that's where having like-minded people and those groups sometimes help, because you could just kind of go in and go, I'm having urges, if that's the case, or so-and-so stressing me out and I don't know how to really deal with this problem. Well, strangers that can relate to the gambling part but don't know the people you're talking about can give us an outside perspective, whether it's what we want to hear or not, but at least gives us an outside perspective and can help, at least be empathetic because they've probably dealt with something similar. So I definitely advocate for groups on that level. And it ends with, today, let me share honestly and without expectations. Yeah, I'm getting really good at the honest part. It's always been a thing for me, but I'm finding that the more open I am and the more honest I am, And the more I learn about myself, yeah, it's totally this room. Oh my God. I don't know. Maybe the computer gives me tired vibes or something. This is just bananas. But the more I learn about myself, the more I know what I want, the more decisive I am. I do struggle a little bit with the honesty if I feel like it's going to hurt someone else's feelings. But I'm getting over that the stronger that I get. Like, no, this is Bobby's world. Bobby has to protect Bobby's world. If you're gonna mess with my momentum, I don't know that I can allow you to participate in my world. That kind of stuff, and call it as I see it. Or if I have mixed feelings or any kind of feelings about something, I may tell them. You know, if someone's, I'm trying to think of an example. We do it a lot with some of our group, like in the group center group things. If there was tough times, like there was times that Sean and I would have to have, you know, these conversations where it's like, okay, well, I feel this way, you know, almost like you see in therapy, but to break some of those barriers of how we communicate it. If our feelings are getting hurt, where I think my old behavior would have been not address it, stew on it, get bitter and anger and resentful and all these things, and, you know, help diminish the relationship instead of strengthen it, or weaken it instead of strengthen it. And now that I say that, I wonder if that's what's going on with my family that I was telling you about, that we're having some technical difficulties, is if it's just brewing and turning into so much more than it has to be. That's definitely what's happening, but it's just showing up. Okay. Anyway. So I think it's Friday, right? Yeah, I'm on vacation, so I'm confused now. So it's my Friday. I hope that everyone has a great kickoff. I'm like in weekend mode since vacation started yesterday, but it doesn't feel very vacation-y yet. I guess tomorrow when we go for lobster rolls in Massachusetts, that'll count as vacation-y. All right, guys, have a fabulous Friday. I will be back tonight. We'll do maybe a little bit more Dharma work, which we might take off of the weekend since I am going away for the day tomorrow. We'll see. All right, have a good one, guys.